This is Beyond Strides, the science and culture of human movement. I'm Andi, and I want to empower you through knowledge and challenge your own thinking. Hello and welcome to Beyond Strides, the science and culture of human movement. I'm Andi, and I'm a rehab and performance coach based in Berlin. I've been coaching for more than 10 years. I have a past in competitive sports, and I love all things movement. I'm fascinated by how humans move, why people move the way they move, how you can improve their movement in order to reduce injuries or pains, and how movement and training fits into everyday life of people. I'm doing this podcast because I want to go deeper. If you know me, you know that I'm posting on social media bits and pieces of my work, my thoughts about movement, about training. However, as we all know, the attention span of social media is very short. And if you can't communicate something within 15 or 30 seconds, almost no one will look at it. However, I think within this industry, as in most of the industries, things are way more nuanced than just a statement you can post on social media. And I really want to think about and talk about topics in nuanced ways, in different ways. I want to go deeper beyond the reels, beyond trends, and beyond what every influencer just propagates on social media. I'm specialized in rehab coaching, and I am currently working with endurance athletes, with runners, with cyclists, with triathletes, but also just with everyday people who want to move better and with less pain. And I just opened a gym here in Berlin with my business partner where we work, we train, and we just learn about movement. I spent the last 10 years, maybe even more, coaching, learning about movement, unlearning things about movement. And I really want to share my experience and knowledge here with everyone who's interested, because in the end, this is the way I learned. I had mentors, I listened to podcasts. There are people who share their knowledge for free because we all want the industry to move into a better direction. And honestly, if just one person listens to this and find this valuable and can apply the things I'm talking about, that would make me really, really happy. Quick intro to me. I've been in sports since I'm 5 years old. I started swimming. Didn't work out really well because my swimming was more a fight against the water than floating in the water. And so I switched to modern pentathlon, which is a sports containing 5 disciplines: swimming, shooting, fencing, horse riding, and running. And I got really good at it, and I competed nationally, internationally. And due to the very toxic environment with what elite level sports was back then in Germany, and to be honest, still is, I dropped out when I was 17. And I never wanted to be a coach because the only role models as coaches I had were my coaches, which were honestly not really good. I started to study vehicle engineering. I was really interested in how cars work. I always was very good in math and physics and just really wanted to grasp and explain how the world around me works. However, after my bachelor's, I found myself asking the question, do you really want to work in the German automotive industry? Because this is where the studies led to. And by then, I was already coaching a little bit because Adidas asked me if I want to lead runs back then when I was 18. And I was like, yes, well, I can do that. I did this my own life. And so one thing came to the other, and I started coaching group classes and going deeper into strength training and discovering all this training universe I didn't know about. And so after my bachelor's, I decided not to be an automotive engineer, but to do a master's in medical engineering because it's the closest I can get to medicine. I deep dived more into human biomechanics and the engineering side of things, how to measure human biomechanics, how to measure gait, how to use technology, how to conduct studies. And then with time, I went deeper into the rabbit hole of coaching. I went deeper into the rabbit hole of how human gait works, how running works, how you can do certain things in the gym which will make you a better runner, a better mover in the outside world. By now, I have gained a lot of experience from being an athlete myself, from training 20 plus hours a week, running endless miles, swimming endless kilometers in a pool, and knowing what really hard training is, knowing how the body reacts and responds to hard training versus low training. And somehow I ended up here. To be honest, I don't really like to call myself a coach, maybe because the industry is full of good, but also really, really bad coaches. And I'm something between a rehab and performance coach and engineer because the people I work with and the problems they present, I'm trying to tackling with an engineering mindset. So to look at where what is the root cause of the problem, what are the mechanical or environmental factors contributing to the problem, and how can we solve this? And so this podcast, Beyond Strides, is about the science and culture of human movement. We will talk all about human biomechanics, how to run properly, how to do proper strength training for runners. I will talk about rehab client cases and what I did with my rehab clients, but also how all of it intersects with real life. You will hear solo episodes where I talk about biomechanics, about rehab, about my training principles I'm applying, about the things I learned from other mentors, but also I want to have conversations with people I've learned from. You will hear other coaches, other athletes, other people who work or move within the industry and who challenge the way we see movement and health, and whom I've had talks to, which I think more people should listen to. So I really want to pick the brains of people. If you have any suggestions, anyone you want me to talk about, let me know and just send me the person and I'll contact them. And we will see where it goes. One of the main reasons why I want to do this podcast, because it's a female-led podcast in the rehab and fitness industry. And there are many very good podcasts in the rehab and fitness world, don't get me wrong. But most of them, not all, but most of them are led by men. And obviously, men will talk about certain topics with the view of a man, because they are just men. And there are certain topics they don't talk about because they are things they never experienced, things that are not a problem to them. And after working for so long in this industry, there are certain things that have to be talked about. And I don't care just about movement and biomechanics and all the nerdy stuff, but I also care about how we talk about certain topics, who gets heard, what gets questioned, and why certain things that maybe don't come directly to your mind when thinking about rehab and fitness, why they still matter within this industry. And so this podcast is for everyone who's into movement, into training, into rehab. If you are a coach, a physio, or just an enthusiast, maybe you want to heal yourself, because to be honest, this is how my journey as a rehab coach started. I had a really bad back and no one could help me. And so I had to dig deeper in order to find a solution for my problems, because no one else could. And if you want to know how to feel stronger, how to run faster, how to have a more healthy but still balanced lifestyle, this podcast is for you. And I'm excited that you listen. And thanks for tuning in. And I want to end this intro episode with a little background story about the cover and the artwork, because I think the whole process of developing this really helped me to shape what the podcast will be. So I asked my friend Anna, who's a graphic designer, if she can help me, because I have the big problem that I cannot imagine pictures in my head. And so when she asked me, hey, what do you want this to look like? I was like, honestly, no idea. I wanted to represent me, to be like me, but I can't tell you more because I have no imagination of that. And so she did something very clever. She asked me about 3 core values this podcast should transport. And after thinking of it, I realized those are my 3 core values, how I work with people, and maybe even one of the core values I stand by in life. I want this podcast to help people to be more self-sufficient. This is my number 1 goal in rehab and training, honestly, for people to be self-sufficient, for people to know what to do, and also for people to know what they have to do if, for example, certain pains come back, and how to get themselves out of there. Sometimes I'm even joking with my clients because I want them basically to not need me as quick as possible and to stand on their own 2 legs as quick as possible. So the second core value, which maybe intersects with the first one, is independence. I want people to be able to sustain themselves independently. So in order for them to be able to train on their own, to know what they have to do in the gym to not feel lost. Another value and maybe feeling this podcast should transport is being empowered by knowledge. Honestly, in this world where we have the internet and obviously you can Google everything, you can ask ChatGPT everything, I think knowing things on your own is real power and will definitely protect you from believing bullshit on the internet, from being scammed, and will just make you, again, a more independent and self-sufficient human. I want to empower you through the knowledge I have, the experience I have, so you can make better decisions on your own. So whenever you see some random influencer propagating something on social media, you can really think for yourself and ask yourself the real questions in order to find out if you should believe this person or rather not. When Anna asked me what 3 words are that describe me the most, I would say direct, honest, and thought-provoking. I want this podcast to be thought-provoking. I want you to be curious about the things I say, but I also want you to question the things I say. I want you to start thinking about certain concepts, principles, or just claims I make. And so I sent all of this to Anna, and she did a little abstract me of how I'm running. And this is the little black mannequin you can see there. You can even see like my hair floating in the back. I love the gradient, and somehow the whole cover, when she presented me the final version, I was like, yes, this is it. Like, this is what I could not imagine in my head, but what I was feeling within my heart. And so I'm really, really happy how this turned out. Honestly, I really love the cover. Like when she sent me, I almost cried because it was so beautiful to see something that's in your mind for so long, to finally see it in front of your two eyes. And so this is about the intro episode. I hope you got a little bit more of an insight who I am. You will definitely get it also within the next episodes. Thank you for tuning in, and you will hear me with the next episode. Bye bye.